not a fan, but Cloud9 are going to be starting on the CT side of things and looking to open their account somewhat stronger than they managed on Overpass. A fast play in towards mid, shut down immediately as Floppy finally hits a nice little shot to take out Rez.
OC could be called upon. Insta-goosed round the corner, dropped to just 8 HP, but they're going to have to try and run with his player advantage. Have they been able to mentally reset after demolition of Overpass? Twist up close with Plopsky. Floppy, very low HP, is about to be flanked. It's a question of who is going to get the last bullet in, and he's actually staying alive far longer than I was anticipating. 2-on-2 now falls into a 2-on-1 as Twist goes on a warpath on a rampage, leaving MOTM with all the chips on the table. 1-on-1 post plant.
Nork got to try and hit the early headshot. He retreats into the back right-hand corner of the bomb site, but MOTM has got him absolutely locked now. That bomb starts to tick down. Defuse kit recovered as well, so every opportunity for MOTM to take this, trying to get closer to Nork, who actually just manages to bail out. MOTM spotting him on the cross, and whoever hits the first headshot wins it. MOTM with a quick flick and finishes the job. Cloud9, they get themselves a second pistol round and only their third round of this best of 3 so far, so don't go getting too excited yet, but at least they're starting on the right foot.
At least it's something for Cloud9 to get hype about, you know, because there haven't been too many things, as you said. Now, this is the kind of map where T-side AWPing, definitely not as prevalent. Typically, when teams hold fire after a bomb plant, it's because they're prioritizing the AWP, and NIP have no interest in that. 2 SGs, AK-47. Again, we fall into that very murky waters of CS currently. A lot of people have an issue with this, where you can just, it's second round, if you get a bomb plant, well, you got some rifles, you've actually got a really solid prospect ahead of you.
The Krieg meta really making life difficult for the CT side, and Nip looking to rub it in with 2 Kriegs, 1 AK-47 picked up by Nork, and those couple of Deagles can still be lethal in the hands of Plopsky and Twist respectively. Not much map control taken initially by Nip, happy just to sit back on the angles. However, they'll know that they're bleeding this utility out from the CT side. They'll know the buy isn't as effective as those Kriegs at range, so just going to be looking to take advantage of whatever fights they can manage.
Hoping that Cloud9 overstay their welcome. Currently 3 players over on A. That grenade nearly landing on the head of Nork, but Floppy is waiting in the wings. He can hear footsteps. This is vital information. There's 2 of them there. The NP9 mowing down 3 players, and MOTM will do the rest. The bomb's been dropped, and so will Plopsky. 2-0 start for Cloud9. Much better.
Much, much better, and the individual plays starting to show up. The aim looking a lot better as well across the board on the CT side, so glimmers of hope starting to shine through the clouds. And Nip, they will go down onto the half buy. They'll grab themselves a couple of Deagles. The P250 will come out for Plopsky, but again, at this point, I mean, if they can get that Krieg away from MOTM, that would be fantastic, but it's all about how much damage you can get, and can the ninjas in Pyjamas manage to sneak their way to a bomb plant?
It's pretty much going to be the icing on the cake if Nip can take a player down with it, all the better for it. But Sonic is going to deny that alongside Floppy. Such is the nightmare of Vertigo. So much aggression from Cloud9. It is one of those maps that affords you to be aggressive on the CT side. You don't feel like you have your back against the wall all the time. So Floppy taking the initiative with the expendable weapons, stacking up a whole bunch of cash, but Lekro and Twist going to make this sting a little bit. 2 kills back, both are tagged down, neither of them able to retrieve either of the fallen guns. And to be honest, considering their SMGs, maybe just better to hold on to the Deagles for that one-tap potential.
Oh, that Crow so nearly finding the shot onto JT and really starting to ramp that pressure up, but as his teammate's taken down, he's left alone in towards mid, knows he's being flanked, and he's just trying to get as much done as he can. Can't quite connect with a headshot. MOTM to clean things up, and at the very least, Cloud9 only losing the SMGs. 2 MP9s down as Nip go for the buy, and this will be their first full buy as AKs and Kriegs come out across the board.
Now, Cloud9 have already weathered the early storm of a couple of SGs and an AK. Now they have that many more to contend with and a healthy dosage of grenades behind it. Let's see how Nip opt for this. They know that Cloud9 have shown that they have no problems getting aggressive and getting up close and personal, but now that it's going to be trading up for the assault rifles, do Cloud9 keep that pace? It doesn't seem like it so far. JT is taking that early encounter through ramp, but needs to be careful that the smoke doesn't get perforated alongside his head, so he will back away. Downside here though, Wolfie, is Cloud9 actually with a minute and 30-ish to play with, don't have a huge amount of utility left.
They've used a lot on that early aggression, and they haven't posted anyone up for it either. Another smoke comes in a little bit less deep, and it's going to allow Twist to start to wander out. OC on the angle, but Twist still able to find the headshot to open things up. Flashbang completely blinds MOTM, so he will fall back through short. And that's the perfect start for the Ninjas. They've got the man advantage, and now it's just about what they choose to do with it. Slowly making their presence known up the scaffolding, Nip, and they've really got every option in the world to go for. Cloud9 incredibly limited in their utility. A pot flash to take a little bit of map control back towards the ramp, but Nip, they've still got a full execute in the bag in terms of nades here.
That they certainly do. They don't have enough of these Cloud9 players cold, though, to realistically go in, all guns blazing. They have to be more methodical. Now the grenades come in. Sonic's going to use that opportunity to strike, and JT alongside it, but Rez 2, exquisite entry frags, is going to get the Swedes and the player advantage. Bomb planted behind it. Cloud9 in trouble. They only have a Molotov to retake with.
JT and MOTM, I think, would be wise to save at this point. The Krieg, crucial for a CT side, and indeed, they're going to be bailing straight out of this situation. The lack of utility really coming back to bite them there. It felt like if they'd had slightly more opportunity to stall, that one really could have got away from the Ninjas, but instead, it will be their first round on the board on the T side of Vertigo. Couple of Kriegs and AKs saved on the T side of things doesn't hurt either, and they're going to try and take them away here through MOTM, just setting himself up on the angle for a peek up the stairs. Twist looks like he knows it's there as MOTM takes a couple of tags and just hightails it away. Knows, of course, that they'll need to keep those rifles up to keep that economy going on the CT side.
That is very much the case. With these two save guns, they can drop them across. They can even pick up an AWP if they so choose. It's going to be interesting to see if they do. MOTM decides to do just that. Let's see where he's going to be playing with it. How do NIP respond? Because Cloud9 now, hot off the back of that loss, they are going to be eyeing up an eco if they end up losing this convincingly, I should say. And NIP will be able to strike gold and potentially run away with this half as they did on Overpass.
Oh, MOTM taking the tags, and the Molotov will finish the job as well. Nip, that is the perfect pick to open things up. The AWP dropped towards short. OC thinking about the recovery, and he doesn't know, but Nip haven't been able to get aggressive and really cover that AWP yet, so it should be picked up at the very least for C9, but you honestly couldn't have thought of a worse situation for this round to begin with other than MOTM getting picked off through a smoke.
$4,750 plus all the grenades he just picked up evaporated in the blink of an eye. And it's not even in a position where they can feasibly go and pick it up. I'm not sure even if they'd want to, but JW, or JT, pardon me, with a JW-esque peak, I guess I could say. Beautiful one tap. Is going to try and hold the line. A very different Swedish player on a very different Swedish team. But the end result is the same. Grenade's going to be tossed over. OC now looking to try and get the flank into effect with his SG. This could be the key to success. If he can get around, if he can wrap into the backside of the terrorists, it could be golden, but instead he gets traded out 1-for-1.
And Twist becomes crucial here, already aggressive onto the bomb site. If he finds a pick, if he sees JT over the top of that smoke, this round is all but done. He's going to wait a little while longer. Now JT starting to spam through, gives his position away, but the bomb's gone down in the meanwhile. 3-on-3 retake. Cloud9 with no smokes to get into this bomb site as Nork even manages to nab the AWP of MOTM. And C9, there's a decision to be made here. Sonic thinking about the flank, and they will try and get in here, but with no utility at all. Nork gets a freebie. The spray down from Plopsky's good for the second. Floppy, at the very least, able to get one. Taps the bomb to bait the peak, but it's not going to work. Ninjas in Pyjamas will have their second, and Cloud9 will be looking down the barrel of an eco, as you said.
I'm a bit surprised in that incursion at the end there, Wolfie, that they still decided to go for the defuse. They went for that retake. They had no grenades, as you highlighted. They had M4s, that's all well and good, but you're retaking a very difficult area of the map on A, with the verticality of the ramp and the side room also out there. If Cloud9 save, they have a chance to actually bounce back in this round. So I'm a little bit surprised, but I guess it shows their confidence hasn't been hit, at least from that first map. They still believe in themselves to win against the odds.
I mean, that's a positive you could take from it, I suppose. I just look at it as...
I'm really trying.
I literally would just see that as they've thrown 3 rifles away. Like, this buy could have been so much more effective if they'd just gone, okay, We've got no smokes. There's no way we're getting into that A-bomb site. Save 3. Give us something to work with coming into this one. Instead, they've got one P250 as Nork starts to make his way up the scaffolding. Does have to be careful of being overwhelmed here, but he'll get the first and the second, and now the push is just being dismantled. Sonic gets one frag for his name onto Rez, but that's all she wrote, and Nip get through it relatively cleanly. Cloud9, they will have the bye coming into this one, and perhaps an opportunity to reinstate themselves on map 2.
You'd certainly hope for. So from the neutrals' perspective, one of the issues they've had, though, consistently, we've been mentioning this, is their lack of grenades when it comes to those crunch time moments, when it comes to the retake. So I'd like them to see that as an issue and to manage their economy, manage their nades usage a little bit better, because it feels like they just toss out all these incendiaries and smokes right off the back with no plan as to how they're going to get round into the latter stages if NIP survive the initial encounters, which they're going to do again here. Rez and Nork both doubling in for frags, and Cloud9 on the back foot again.
Plopsky might take the risk through the smoke, and he will do, giving Sonic a lifeline for Cloud9 here, 3-on-3. But look at this positioning from Twist and the CT side. They're still rotating back around. MOTM looking completely the wrong way is going to give up a free A bomb site. Fast flank is here for Sonic, but Lekro has read it well. He sets himself up to try and cover the angles as Nork and Co make their way onto the A bomb site. And again, they've just got the read. OC, oh, Sonic gets his head ripped off. And JT, nothing more he can do. Twist finishes the job. Nip, they have the lead for the first time, and you do wonder if it's a lead they're ever going to give up again.
I think if we didn't witness overpass in that performance, we'd probably say yes.
Yeah.
But that's definitely still in the back of our minds, and I've got to hope that Cloud9, their players are experienced enough, they're professional enough to be able to just dust that off into the back of their minds and say, that's a different lifetime ago, it's all in the past, we've got to focus on the present, the here and the now. So I'm still going to stay positive and optimistic that Cloud9 can, but yeah, things are starting to get a little bit scary. They're going to be raining down men onto the head of Lekro, able to actually take an SG out of that encounter, which is certainly a decent weapon to take out. Rez did just spot the gun being tossed across, but needs to make sure he doesn't get baited out into the open and lose his life. That'll be 2 weapons instead, but OC overstays his welcome, and he has been put down with authority, and it's more of the same for Nip.
JT manages to recover himself the Krieg, and with 3 low HP players, there's potential for damage to be done here. The bomb very slowly making its way around on the back of Twist, but that Molotov buys even more time, and it really does feel like a question of which Nip player is going to finish the job. Plopsky the first on the Jennies. Twist looks to get the bomb down behind first generators. JT at least able to get one more onto Plopsky as Twist retreats with the AWP, and he will finish the job. So only one more player lost for the Ninjas, and they're really starting to build up their bank again on the T side. As Cloud9, they will have the bye, but it's going to cost them near enough everything.
And most certainly will, and they've gone for a double AWP. Very interesting. I feel as if Nip have been doing a pretty solid job of getting smokes into position and pushing behind them. So I'm a bit concerned for Cloud9 that they're about to just get massively countered by this. But we'll have to wait and see what kind of opportunities they look for with the AWP. If they go more aggressively, JT gonna trade out with Nork at the very least, but Plopsky jumping from middle. You could see that JT was stuck out in no man's land, and he gets eliminated by Plopsky. That's instantly drawing out the rotation from Floppy, and these 2 AWPs have not been able to get static, they've not been able to get into position and play to that turret kind of mentality. Nip are doing such a good job of maneuvering Cloud9 into these exposed weak positions.
Pulling the strings like a puppet master, they really are, and it's going to be on to MOTM to have a huge hold here on the AWP, completely alone towards the A-bomb site, although the rotations will start to come through. Floppy will start to make himself known and actually leave that B-bomb site completely empty. The Ninjas going to be wandering into a relatively occupied site, but with the dump of utility, they will be completely locking everybody out. MOTM can't hit the shot through the smoke. And again, Cloud9 very limited in their utility for this retake. They've got 1 smoke and 1 HE as the molly goes out, and that's not even going to stop Rez planting. So every advantage the way of the Ninjas, and at least Plopsky taken down in the early engagement.
This could bait Cloud9 into a false sense of security, though. This could dangle the carrot in front of their eyes and force them into a retake and to lose everything. Especially now that MOTM's AWP has been spotted by Lekro. This should be the red light shone in the face of Cloud9. The alarm bell should be ringing. They should be getting the hell out of here. But Lekro is going to stop it from being possible. Peeking from MOTM, but he's missed his shot. That could be it. He's going to get encircled by Swedes, but still does connect on Lekro. But it's a worthwhile trade for Nip. Both AWPs have been taken off the table, and we saw the moment there. 2 smokes at the back of the site, completely locks down MOTM. His AWP was useless.
And that's the problem with investing into a double AWP setup on a map like Vertigo. 2 smokes is all it takes, $600, and you've ruined a nearly $5,000 investment in a gun alone. And Cloud9, they'll start to try and use their timeouts to try and find a way to stop the Ninjas before it's just too little too late. They are 6-3 down. They will be going for the half buy into this one. A few pistols to pick up at the very least, but Nip are in such a good position. Res, $8,000, $12,000 on Twist. I hadn't even seen that. Nork on 6. It feels like Nip are just building into the same position we saw on Overpass.
It's hard not to feel deja vu right now, honestly. I mean, Cloud9 did come out the gates a lot stronger. Already have more rounds than they did the entirety of Overpass. Quite depressing. But it's 3-0 to 3-6. That's the way this is ebbed and flowed, and now Nip are in cruise control. They've picked up the AWP for Twist. They're going to see if they can use it against the CTs now, who are looking to go a little bit more aggressively, but it's down to pistols. And NIP, after that timeout, must realize this is a distinct possibility. So set up for those anti-ecos, something that Threat brought into this a long time ago, different roster, and Twist with a hell of a shot onto JT. It's gone from bad to worse.
That's the kind of opening you want your AWPer to be getting as well. OC hoping perhaps for a timing, and will be able to get Rez on the 5-7. Nork looking to apply the pressure, will find the refrag, and teammates there to bail him out. Again, Cloud9 getting the damage. Letcrow down to 4 HP, but the 2 remaining pistols are all the way over towards this B bomb site, and Nip are setting up for the A execute. They've got a lurk in place as well, and it just looks like the setup is a little bit too good. Plopsky is here to cut this one out. He does look like he might get caught on a timing, though. He's clearing all the wrong angles at all the right times, and Floppy will finally wander into his crosshairs, taken out, leaving just Sonic, and even with Letcrow brought down to 4 HP, there's surely no way he can get back into this.
Best case is to maybe take some players with him to try and at least keep the economy honest of NIP, but that's not going to be happening. Plopsky is up to the task. He reads the situation. I mean, if we look at the previous results as well, to be fair to both teams, yes, they've had a bit of an awkward, rough period, but we are coming off the back of not a huge amount of CS being played. Previous losses, Vitality beat Nip, and Astralis beat Cloud9. You can't really argue with those results.
Yeah.
But if we go off this performance and this basis, it looks like Nip are in a different league to Cloud9. I mean, consistently through this best of 3, they have been so superior.
And Cloud9 again go for the double AWP setup. They look like they just, that's their idea, is to bring out 2 AWPs. And the problem with it is that utility. It's just all too easy to lock them out. Floppy with an aggressive play in towards mid, as this time it's OC who picks up the second AWP, looking to perhaps mix things up on the CT side, mix up the angles for the AWP, and maybe catch somebody off guard for the Ninjas. And indeed, Floppy will find the early opening, immediately traded though by Letcrow, and OC goes up on the boost, catches the timing to take him out. So finally, Cloud9 have themselves a man advantage.
Got to run with it though. They've got to convert this. They can't afford to sit back and allow NIP to recover and to put them down. They at least have utility to use though. Minute left. Timing could be so detrimental for Cloud9. NIP moving together as a united force up the ramp. They're going to be greeted there by MOTM and JT. The AWP for OC still over on middle. Here's a fast rotation, though, of course, in Vertigo. Only takes a matter of seconds to get from one side of the map to the other. And now the mollies, the smoke, starting to connect on to the key positions. 39 seconds left. They're still not pulling the trigger just yet in the aggression, but it's going to be coming soon. There is a gap in the smoke, though, for JT to exploit. And if they don't check this, it's going to be a massacre. But he goes down without much of a fight, and MOTM has whiffed his opportunity. He now has to just duck and wait for the rest of his team to get there. The bomb's being planted, and Pomsky is just destroying everything. everybody, NIP in a round they had no right to win, come out ahead and don't lose a single player in that 3v4.
Plopsky goes absolutely huge on the Krieg spray down, and when you're in a position that Cloud9 find themselves in, when you have an advantage, you absolutely have to take it, and you have to imagine this timeout is called because somebody has got to be tilted. They've just lost a 5-on-3 retake onto the A bomb site and an opportunity to finally get around on the board after a few rounds at the start, but that's all it's been.
I mean, this has to be a detox pause. Let's just all calm down. Let's take a few deep breaths because MOTM had a chance. They also had OC, who started the round off so well with the AWP, who had an opportunity onto Plopsky. But again, we said this a lot on Overpass, and it's how it felt. It's just a case that NIP, in these duels, in these aim duels, are hitting almost every single shot. And there's going to be days where that happens. There's going to be days where you can't really do anything. You're not feeling your A game, the opposition is, and it just seems like NIP, they're all clicking when it counts.
Everybody's showing up is the bottom line, isn't it? And Cloud9 again find themselves on the pistols, on the half-buy. Deagles for 4, a P250 for MOTM, so he can pick up a little bit of utility and perhaps find something for his team. Aggressive stacks into mid and B for the CT side, but will it be enough? MOTM very isolated towards A as OC does catch the timing on the initial peak. Can't quite punish Letcro, however, and the rest of the team are making their way up. They are getting all the information in the world from this from Letcro. Boosted over the top, MOTM might at least be able to get one frag in this round, but as the bomb makes its way around, slowly but surely towards this A-bomb site, the Ninjas, they will work it out. They'll work out that this A-bomb site is completely free, and Cloud9 will go into damage limitation mode.
It's not that they have that many other options, unfortunately. They're going to be sat around middle and B and hoping for the best with this gamble stack. They have some Kevlar that they can save. If they can try and get a straggler on NIP charging down with their buffed economy, maybe they can take one of these SGs into the next round. But I think, honestly, from NIP's perspective, you're looking at a 9-3 lead. You know that the economy of Cloud9's rough. I personally would be wanting to see them just actually pull together and allow Cloud9 to survive here. I think it could do more harm than good to give across an SG or an AWP potentially. You're in such a commanding position. Don't give Cloud9 even a whiff of a chance to get back into this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think the Krieg is such a powerful weapon at this point, and NIP clearly aware of it. They're just going to sit back. They're happy to stay and let these 5 players survive, sure, but you've been dealing with every rifle round they've thrown at you anyway. Why would you be scared of letting them have armor, of letting them be able to buy fully into the next round? There's no fear for the Ninjas in Pyjamas, so why not? Just sit back, keep all 5 rifles up, keep your economy building nicely. They've basically secured their buys all the way until the end of the first half at this point, and then they get fed a few more kills just to boost the economy further.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 are in sort of desperation mode now. They've been cornered. Their elimination from the tournament is very much a real possibility now. It's staring them down the barrel of a gun wielded by 5 informed Swedes. And 9-3 is the scoreline. Cloud9 at least have a bye. But again, Wolfie, as you said before, Cloud9's rounds all came at the start of this map. It's 9 in a row now to NIP.
And that's the problem. NIP are just going from strength to strength. They're so confident. MOTM's going to take a couple of the late ticks of the molly as JT tries to get aggressive, but Nork there with the punishment. Cloud9, they're trying to mix it up, and you can respect them for that. They're trying something a little different. A pop flash from his own teammate blinds MOTM on his first opportunity for a kill in so long, though. Trading tags, Nork and OC. But again, the Ninjas, they have that early advantage. They have the man up, make it 2 as Twist finds OC, and it just feels like NIP are a class above at the moment. Letcro swings into short and wins an Angel. Finally, something goes the way of Cloud9 in the form of Floppy getting a frag, but he's going to be tagged up trying to rotate away. Rez will find him through the smoke. And Sonic, the remnants of what Cloud9 were coming into this round.
Has to traipse over the corpses of his fallen comrades and try and save this M4. That is as depressing a picture as you could paint, really, for Cloud9. And that's how this best of 3 is gone. They've picked up a measly 5 rounds. And we're heading towards the finish line for NIP already. And we're not even in their second half yet.
It's rough to watch, isn't it? They were a roster that everybody had so much hype for, so much belief, and I think this is a very cruel, although perhaps needed, reality check for the Cloud9 boys to come into a tournament and go, okay, we're not at this level yet. We need to go and work and sit away from the game and really improve ourselves, because sometimes the strategies have looked fine for C9. It's just been the aim. The pure aim of NiP has been a class above C9. And when that happens, you're not going to start winning games. You're not going to win if you can't win the aim duel.
I mean, I think it would be safe to say, especially, I mean, Vertigo lends itself to this mentality, but we haven't seen a tactical masterclass in this best of 3. You know, Overpass, NiP had some great calls, some great mid-round decisions, but we didn't see anything that was really awe-inspiring. But when it came to those aim duels, you say, the Swedes, just unbelievable. Maybe time for that Swedish resurrection. We've got Fnatic doing pretty big things right now in that area of the world. Maybe NIP have got a few things to say about that. It's been a while since we've been able to really lend on them or lean on them for some big performances. But again, for Cloud9, I'm not going to necessarily push that sort of self-destruct button yet. I think, again, you play Vitality in the very first game of the tournament. They're a team that has... sorry, Astralis, pardon me. It's even worse than Vitality if you're a Cloud9 fan. They play against Astralis. You know, you get kind of battered from Astralis. There's some moments that, you know, maybe brilliance from Cloud9. This game is disappointing. There's no doubt about that. But it's not quite over just yet. Maybe they can still steady the ship and turn it back on course. I'd love to see that happen. Still all 5 players alive. Just under a minute to play with.
There's chances. There's an opportunity here, NiP, with nothing to really work off of yet. And MOTM going to get aggressive on this right-hand side. This is a really awkward angle for T-sided players to clear. And you can see Twist aware of it with the AWP, but still able to hit the first shot. And Rez is there to back him up when he finally does miss. NiP just playing so well as a team. A 5-on-3, 30 seconds left on the clock. So perhaps an opportunity for the denial from C9. But the utility is just going to absolutely flush them out. Sonic on the M4 can get nowhere near the bomb site. The boost up will give him 1 frag, and NiP looking a little bit confused as Letgro finally takes him out. And Floppy and JT, what can you do at this point?
Pray to Gaben, I guess. Try and bend bullets round corners. But JT's had his head smashed open by Nork, and now Floppy going to be looking to hide in position and maybe try and retrieve a gun. That is the best case scenario. NIP will be 11 rounds on the bounce. Their hot streak continues, and Lekro is going to finalize this half in a pretty depressing manner for Cloud9. They have one more crack at it, though, and they're going to have some weapons to bolster up the buy.
Small consolations for C9. They will be able to have one last crack at the whip, and an 11-4 half, honestly, would be somewhat flattering for them, given how the performance has gone so far, but perhaps an opportunity at redemption here. Full buy, of course, available for the Swedes, and no AWP picked up, going for 5 Kriegs instead, so perhaps a change of pace as Nork is going to take an aggressive push, only to be forced back by the Molotov, and now the C9 aggression trying to come in. JT finding some damage through the smoke, but Nork with his second and a quick headshot. OC at least able to bring one back, but NiP, they're trying to up the pace as Rez takes him down, and oh my goodness, Floppy and Sonic, they're rotating into a bomb site that is absolutely overwhelmed by NiP.
I can respect the idea. You want to go out swinging on your terms, go out on your shield, as it were, but NIP are taking no prisoners. They are just eradicating Cloud9, pulverizing them into this second half. All that remains is Floppy in a 14 HP to his name. NIP will find him sooner rather than later. I'm not even sure what his play is here. Is he trying to pad the stats? He's got no Kevlar, no real hope of defusing the bomb. Just enjoying every second they have left in the Katowice tournament, because it doesn't look like it's going to be too much longer. Here's another headshot forthcoming, but NIP will be leading going through to the second half. 12-3. Cloud9 are 4 rounds away from elimination at Katowice. We'll have to wait and see if they can pull back the miracle comeback after this very short break.
look at me that way. It broke my heart to see. It's too hard, it don't come easy. I went dark, I lost it right away. And when it starts, God knows what I'll say. In my head, I had good reason. I went red so unexpectedly. I should have said that sometimes happens to me. It was a moment of darkness, a moment in time that I regret for being so heartless. It was a moment of darkness.
Your destiny, slay your enemy, raise a legacy. No more apologies, trust your abilities, gather the energies. Pull yourself back together, been staying off track forever. Child of the nation, will seek redemption, time for salvation. Today is meant to be day of victory, time for history. Reverse the tendency, fight the entropy, channel your rivalry. You're playing for fortune to come, you're hearing the sound of the drum.
Continue to impress on their choice now of Vertigo. It's slightly better standing for Cloud9, but it's still a 12-3 deficit, and NIP are so very close. They're close enough to touch the finish line of this game and eliminate Cloud9. There is one hope, one dream, one lifeline left, Wolfie, and it's this pistol. They lose this pistol, and I fear it may all be done.
It has to go well. There's no two ways about it anymore. JT picks up a full bank of utility, and there's no more places to hide for C9. There's nothing more that they can fall back on. This has to work, and they have to start showing up in the server now. It looks like they want to go for a fast play in towards the B and mid area of the map, respectively. And again, Nip with such a nice read. They've got 3 players in towards this B bomb site already, and Flopsky going to bail out as the pressure starts to come in and try and take the early engagement. Fast play from Floppy. He will find the opening pick, and it's 3 quick frags for Cloud9. That is much more like it, as Rez and Nork left wondering where all their teammates have gone, and a 5-on-2 retake of the B bomb site to contend with.
I'm happy to see it as well. I want to see Cloud9 put up something they can be inspired and be proud of. But it's Rez that's going to start to open things back up again. Nork's also chipped in with a frag, but there's Sonic with 2. There we go, Cloud9. You have grabbed on with both arms onto the lifeline. Now just make sure you don't make the same mistake you did in the first half and lose the second round. It's so vitally important they do not slip.
There's no more room. They have to keep a firm grasp on that belief that they can keep going. At the very least, it's Nip on the CT side, so their false buy into round number 2 is going to be nowhere near as spectacular as Cloud9's 3 rifles, a Galil and a MAC-10 over on the T side of things. There's just 4 Deagles and a CZ remain for the Ninjas to try and stop the push. MOTM taking slow control of the A ramp. And again, C9, it's understandable here, playing slowly, giving some respect to these pistols and just waiting out any early aggression from the CT side.
Playing it well so far. Again, though, when it's come to the aim duels, NIP have been lights out. And when you have Deagles, especially in the hands of the likes of Lekro and Rez, who are 2 of the best Deagle players on the planet, it does make me a little bit scared for Cloud9, especially as they only have 1 smoke left. So you have to assume one of these angles where NIP are currently residing is going to be left open and is going to be prime real estate for those 1 Deags to take shape. Now, the thing is that Cloud9 haven't fully committed the bomb just yet. They can still wrap around. They can still decide to go to the other side of the map, but they're going to bite down on this. There's only 1 flash and smoke to go. Wolfie, I'm scared for them.
I am too. Don't worry about it. OC takes the early tag down to 51, and at least they've managed to dodge the crosshairs so far, instead opting to go up towards short. Lecro hoping for a timing through the smoke, but he's not quite going to connect as the bomb looks to go down, and Cloud9, they're holding on to that lifeline for the time being, not wandering into those stray eagles of the Ninjas in Pyjamas, who are just completely locked out by the utility. With one hell of a decision to make. They've got one smoke, a couple of HEs and a flashbang to try and make this retake a reality. Where do they look to go? All of the nades head towards short, but Sonic will still find a frag onto Rez through the wood, and as the CTs try and get into this retake, it's becoming a little bit of a slaughter.
Yeah, they were hoping to just flood back on the site, but honestly, it was more like a trickle. And Cloud9 didn't really have an issue with it. That smoke was perfectly placed, and they also had, I think it was Sonic on the ramp, spraying up through the right-hand side of the smoke, not allowing NIP to line up any of those wall bangs or shooting through the smoke themselves. So they did a really good job of actually making the most with very little in the end, Cloud9. I was worried for them, but they passed it with flying colors.
And that's the first of a great many tests that will come the way of C9. Nip saving, of course, 3-4 pistols, so they've got some kind of firepower coming into this round, but Cloud9 should be able to get through this one as well at the very least, and they'll just be looking to farm some cash, I'm sure. JT on that MAC-10 is going to be the first into whichever engagement they choose, and for Cloud9, they need to keep these rifles up, right? They need to keep that T-sided economy constantly building, constantly keep that pressure applied to Nip, because as soon as you let off, this game is done. Twist taken out by Floppy in the initial engagement, and Cloud9, for the first time in a while, find themselves with a man advantage.
Happy enough, though, to just dip out of this round, just hold on. They've got such a vast buffer of rounds. They don't need to force into anything here. JT, though, doing a solid job of just locking it down with the MAC-10, making sure that they navigate their way to the 6th round as smoothly and without incident. That's pretty much the occurrence here. But with Nip pulling off on the buy, they're now going to have a rock-solid purchase. And they do go for the double AWP. This is something that we discussed before. We were interested to see if it would come to fruition, Wolfie, and we've had our answer.
Double AWP picked up. Nork picking up secondary duties as Twist gets one on his own hands. And for Cloud9, surely just a matter of getting this wall of smokes lined up. We've seen how much you can lock out the A bomb site with just a few smokes. And it is going to be Nork with the AWP looking to perhaps aggress on the early peak, and he is going to find the first frag, taking out MOTM, who had no idea Nork could be there so quickly. It's allowed Lecro as well to get set up in towards the sandbags, blinded by his own teammate. He does just about spot Sonic at the spray down, good for 2 more. This is the Nip we have seen throughout this best of 3 series, as Floppy and JT, the 2 players who headed towards mid to try and give that attack a second prong, will try instead to prod something out of this round. JT getting aggressive, but Nork on the angle. It looks like it's another round for Nip.
And Sonic got clobbered by a Molotov as well on his way up to ramp. I think he burnt down to around 25 HP and then finished off by Lecro. Now, one thing I was going to highlight at the start of the round is that Nip didn't actually have a single defuse kit coming into this. They decided to go for firepower and nades over instead. And maybe that's one of the reasons they did take the aggressive peaks there, Wolfie, because they knew they couldn't play into the hands of the later round. They would have to go in for blood to start things off, and they're feeling so confident, why the hell not? You can see the outcome. It's not just a round looking like it's going to go to Nip. It could be a clean sweep. They could lose no players, which is going to bolster their money so much more. Floppy's going to try and stop that from being the case. You can see that Plopsky was up on the off angle, skewing with the headshot angle, but it's going to be Twist that does at least come to the aid of Plopsky and avenge him. Cloud9 onto the back foot again.
3 more rounds required for the Ninjas in Pyjamas to avoid elimination in their first lower bracket game. And Cloud9, they won't go quietly into the night. They will have a full buy. 5 Kriegs picked up by the T side to perhaps try and counter some of that aggression we saw from Nork in the early engagement towards A. But can they find anything? It's going to need some quick shots from Cloud9 to stop it. This Twist is going to allow Popsky to go for an early peek down towards B. OC is going to get the better of Nork, however, through the smoke. And Cloud9 with something to believe in.
Gonna push behind this though, and Rez could be reaping the rewards if they do push into this smoke. Twist in the meanwhile elsewhere on the map does chip in with an AWP frag, and the lineup's there for Rez. He sprays them down, but Sonic stands tall for the avenging kill. And it's 2 back-to-back. So 2v2 retake on the cards. Unless they can deny the bomb from going down, it still hasn't quite got across to the site. Now it will be in the hands of OC.
Plopsky and Twist to try and make this retake happen. They have a little bit of utility. There's a smoke and a couple of flashbangs available as OC retreats through short back towards the scaffolding. Decisions to be made here for the Ninjas. Pop flash over the top as Plopsky gets the information. They do have a defuse kit in his hands. The smoke, interestingly, not going towards the bomb, but instead trying to bait the peek out. OC finds it, and Sonic will grab the second. Cloud9 not done with this game just yet. They find their 7th, and it's going to put Ninjas in an awkward position. Nip immediately buy an AWP on Twist, so they are going to go for the force buy. Plopsky having to drop down onto the MP9, and Lekro with just a deagle. Huge
round from the South African there. 2 massive kills on ramp and then coming out when it was needed in the 2v2 to finish things off. NIP, as you say, do dip in very quickly. Didn't take too much time to make their decision. We'll have to wait and see if that proves to be a costly mistake, because if they do lose this round, Cloud9 are actually on the fast track to get themselves back into this map. NIP in a fulcrum point round. A lot rests on this.
There's an opportunity, a belief, a chance, whatever you like to call it, as Plopsky goes back and just plays it passively. You can understand that from the Ninjas. They will understand, of course, that this round is the swing. And this is the one where they could really just allow Cloud9 back into the game. And it really does feel like it's Nip's game to lose at this point. 13-7 up, sitting back on the bomb sites and waiting for the aggression. It's going to be Twist on the early peak. Does he spot out OC? He doesn't. The support is there, though, so he will get away with his life. OC takes down Rez as a consequence, and perhaps Lekro can pick himself up that creek. Perhaps he can give himself some firepower to work with, as Cloud9, they are all on this A ramp.
Yeah, this is where Cloud9 had troubles with in the past, though, that they would decide to go for a site and they just follow through. They would be ride or die mentality. They wouldn't have a cancel. They wouldn't have a pull back and realize, okay, maybe we're walking into a trap here. So it's great to see that now they are wrapping back around over onto the B side. They are trying to play some mind games with NIP. This is much better from C9. They need to make sure they don't stall too long, though, to allow that re-rotation to come into effect. Plopsky now hearing grenades, dropping onto A, is going to go back across here with the MP9. He is the last line of defense, the last beacon of hope. He needs to stay alive, though, to allow the rest of his team to pivot off him, and that's exactly what's happening now with Nork. But him and Plopsky both tagged down significantly. So is MOTM and OC, though. It's a 3v2, but the HP actually slightly in favor of Cloud9. Not massively so. They are in good positions, though. A trifecta has been established, but it's been completely removed. It's going to be a vanishing of Cloud9. Now JT gets back on and flicks across to the head of Plopsky. The fact that he was able to trade for that second kill and flick up to the headshot up on the jump is very impressive.
4 kills for JT in the round, and he has single-handedly kept Cloud9 in this. Everything else fell apart, but JT got 2 kills on the A bomb site and then flanked all the way round for 2 more as the site looked to be lost. And Cloud9, they're not done with this game yet. The Ninjas will go down onto the half buy once more, picking themselves up some deagles, a CZ onto Plopsky, and they're slowly being reeled in by the American roster. They're slowly starting to think that perhaps we will need a third map to separate these two teams, although don't write off the Swedes on the Deagles. Plopsky with the CZ will find an opening pick. Twist with just a USPS, still able to find a dig, which Lekro will capitalize on. Finally, the rifles start to do some work, but it's still a 3-on-2. And Nork, Rez, and Plopsky still have these upgraded pistols to work with.
Oh no, Cloud9, not like this. Not in a round where Kevlar is even absent. It's just pistols. How is this coming into play? How is this potentially happening? JT is going to get a bit more sanity back on the server with his SG, but it's still way too close for comfort. Now with that bomb plant, it certainly shifts things heavily in Cloud9's favor. They only have the 1 flashbang to play with, though, and that's just been tossed to the back of the site. In the meanwhile, Plopsky is going to be moving back with that AK-47. They just want to hold on to the firepower of the AK over the M4, of course, gives you that one-tap potential. So at least they are getting something out of this. But Cloud9, I mean, that has to be a case of, you know, everyone just kind of takes a moment to themselves, collects themselves. If they lost that round, that could have been it.
That could have been the end, and Nip, I think they'll be happy with how that one's gone as well. They found 3 frags. They put a lot of economic pressure onto Cloud9 coming into the next round, and they've grabbed a Krieg and an AK-47, right? You couldn't ask for a better scenario. Given how rough the buy was coming into it, this is perfect, and they're going to have the opportunity to shut it down now. They've got a full buy coming into the next, and because they took those 3 rifles away, the economy is really going to be slim for Cloud9 if this round goes wrong.
But they have clawed their way back in here, Cloud9. You've got to give them respect. 12-3 after getting battered in the first map. Everybody was fearing the worst. I certainly was. I didn't see this resurgence as even a possibility, but yet here we are in a position where NIP going to be forced to sweat it out a little bit more. Nork and Twist again with the AWPs. Going to be locking into position. Lecro nade down. Similar position to where he got 2 man spray down earlier and started to snowball this out of control. And Cloud9 managed to hold on for dear life.
Going to start to put that pressure back towards the B bomb site as well, which is relatively unoccupied. Plopsky on the Krieg can't quite find the initial headshot onto Sonic, and that's going to put him in an awkward situation. The Molotov forcing him out, and there's no rotation yet from Nip. All 5 players from Cloud9 looking to commit to this B bomb site. Full utility being dropped. How much can Plopsky get done here? Finally, Twist is in, but the flashbangs are so good. They haven't cleared Plopsky yet. What are they doing, Cloud9? Floppy finds one more. The trade's frantic, but it's starting to favor the Ninjas. 3-on-3. Twist still alive. Plopsky just goes straight through. Rez finds the headshot, and 3-on-2 now. JT has to find this shot, manages to do so, but the trade is immediate. MOTM by the second. Jenny's in the 1-on-1, takes the Molotov, but Nork will finish the job. Nip will not go down another round. 14-9, and the economy is really going to start to struggle for Cloud9.
That is one of the reasons why Vertigo is such a confusing but can be such a great map to cast. It was so chaotic, so crazy and frantic in amongst that ruckus. But as you say, NIP have the calm head of Nork on those shoulders to carry them across another round. 21-10 with 89 ADR. He wasn't as much of an impact on overpass, wasn't required, but he stepped up tall when it really counts.
This is what we said at the end of map 1. What do Cloud9 do when Nork shows up? And he is showing up in a huge way here. Cloud9, of course, will have to try and buy to prevent map and indeed series point going the way of NIP. 3 rifles, a MAC-10 and a CZ for a fast play. Sonic taking some early map control. Rez thinking about the peak, but will just bail out as MOTM joins the South African in support. And Cloud9 at least have got some early map control to play with.
It's a very good point. They do also have MOTM, Floppy elsewhere on the map to just make sure that rotations aren't coming in, allows them more opportunities as well if they so choose to pull the plug and back away. But it looks like they are locked in for this for the long haul. They don't have a great buy. They don't have too many options in terms of utility. 2 smokes, a Molotov, and a flashbang is all they possess. Lecro waiting with the grenade, does nothing at all. So a bit of a stalemate, but of course that time is going to start to become an issue, a factor in the back of Cloud9's mind, and it could force them into engaging now.
They're going to go for the push. MOTM able to take out Lecro, and Nork not spotting anything out over the top of the smoke, even going to take a dink down to 26 HP. This is good for Cloud9. They've got the bomb site. Rez through the smoke, able to find JT, and that might spur them into the retake here. Economy not great for either side, and it really feels like this could be the swing. 4 players for the CT side queuing up for this retake. Sonic on the bomb site to try and hold. AK-47 in hand as the push starts to come through, and Sonic will find the first. Pop flash is good, but he's still alive. Finally taken out by Rez as Twist gets another. 3-on-2. Twist looks to stick the bomb. He's sticking the defuse. The spray doesn't connect, and Nip will have 15. Another ninja defuse to undo Cloud9.
Oh dear. The same man. Another defusal under the noses of Cloud9. You could see they were trying desperately to spray through the smoke to stop it. Oh, the courage, though, to hold on to that bomb plant. Not too shabby at all. But 6 elimination points now for Cloud9. It's why they're going for the tactical timeout. You're going to have to throw whatever ace they have up their sleeve needs to come out right now. Has to be planted firmly on the table. They did get a bomb plant, so they've got a couple of options economically speaking. But it's do or die time.
This is it. This round could be their last round of Katowice. Everything is on the line now. They will scrape together the buy. JT on the Deagle. I don't think there's a gun on the ground for him, so that will be all he has. OC with the AWP, no utility at all. Floppy, absolutely zero as he picks up the Krieg, and Nip, they've got near enough everything. Nork dropping down onto the M4, cannot afford the AWP on this occasion, but gets plenty of utility as a consequence.
That's a very good point to highlight. I think utility right now, the way that Cloud9 have been playing, is actually more important than having the AWP. They've liked to go for these encounters up ramp and try and take control. So those extra smokes, extra flashbangs gives them chances, and Sonic decides to push through the smoke, and he is punished in the worst way possible. He may be forced on the sideline for the rest of Cloud9's life at Katowice. Floppy, MOTM, and OC to try and somehow salvage this situation.
4 on 3 as Plopsky sets himself up on a very unusual angle, playing taunting with the edge of the map, but he's able to stay here, and he's just waiting for this push to come in. It's going to be all on the timing. Plopsky can make the call. He takes out the first. He takes out the second. OC all alone for Cloud9. The AWP in a 1 versus 3. Takes out the first man as Nork, perhaps too keen to go over the boost. OC will stick the bomb, and Rez thought about it, but will just bail out. 1v2 for the Cloud9 AWP as he absolutely eats the nade between the generators. 50 HP to work with, and Nip, they will look to group through Twist and Rez. They will look to make this push a reality. OC with so many angles to cover on that AWP. All Nip need to do is trade, and the day is done, but the bomb is ticking down all the while. Twist with the headshot, and the ninjas in Pyjamas will have their victory. Cloud9 are going home, and they finally finished the job that they came here to do.
They tried to remedy the situation. They tried to come back. They valiantly fought until the end, but ultimately they just weren't good enough to deal with Nip. Nip were on a different level, man. There were definitely shaky moments in their Vertigo, though. I think a lot of teams watching that Vertigo aren't going to be too scared to play against them going onto that in the future. It is a map that, let's be honest, gets banned a lot anyway, so I can't see it really being a factor for NIP, but I'm impressed, man, I've got to say.